Hello, this is Kristen Coes again, and thank you for watching me on my journey towards becoming a web developer. Today is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to learn while usually I learn and then I talk about it, but I decided I was going to learn. I saw this, the next front end mentor challenge that I needed to do involved JSON data, and then there was a tutorial on working with data. So then this page led to a page on the MDN site on, hold on, where is it? Here it is. Working with JSON. So the whole video is gonna be about that, and they give you a file to work with JSON data, and we're just gonna run through it. I will talk about what I did today. So I did finish. So I already, let's see. So in Jonas's course, I finished up JavaScript Fundamentals 2, which was more of a refresher than anything else. And then he has a section on how to navigate this course. I watched some of the theory lectures. I won't lie, I didn't finish them. I don't think I'm going to do the optional HTML and CSS crash course since I've already been doing that for August. Oh, there's Malachi. Hey, Malachi. Hey, Malachi. How you doing? So, so I'm going to be doing that. And then, probably tomorrow I'm going to start heavy on finishing section 7. And there's a little project with that. And then I do want to come back and, oh my God, there's a sticker on this shirt. I do want to come back and start doing the, let me see, working with data time tracking, the time tracking dashboard, which I feel like is going to be kind of difficult, but I'm going to do it anyway, whatever. Another thing I've decided is that I'm going to really start focusing on the Odin project. I don't know if y'all know about it, but the Odin project is do they have an about? The Odin project is like this structured way of becoming a developer. They offer a curriculum, an open source curriculum. It's on GitHub and everything. And they have different paths. Like they have the foundations path where they go through like some things about web development, Git. This website is actually how I learned Git. I took a lot of notes because Git was extremely confusing for me, and I don't know. So I had to. I have a notebook. I have some pages. I should show y'all that so y'all can see that I'm actually taking notes over here. Who am I? Returns username. Yeah. So I don't know if y'all can see this, but I have a whole bunch of notes on like the whole Git workflow and everything, and yeah, so I was really serious about learning Git because I knew it was something that was important and I wasn't good at it. So anyway, move this out of the way. So yeah, they go through Git, HTML, CSS. Then there's a project landing page where you do this and stuff, some random information. So it's giving a more structured way of learning, and I feel like I need that. And so I want to complete this while using Jonas's course and doing some front-end mentor stuff. I don't see anything wrong with doing all of those and completing them and learning, learning about via projects and stuff. So what else did I do today? I know I went in, oh yeah. I'm gonna show y'all something. So I use ChatGPT for one thing and one thing only when it comes to coding. Let me move this out the way. Move myself out the way somewhere. Make myself smaller. Boop. Boop. Okay. So I use ChatGPT to make to give me problems. Like for example, today I was doing, where was I? Yeah. So I finished 3 problems. I was learning for loops. Let me open that up. So I was learning for loops today. Some of my notes got deleted because there was some problems. So I was learning for loops and everything. I said, hey, give me some for loop problems. He gave me 3 of them. And then it said, hey, would you like to do some more challenges? And I said, yeah, give me some DOM for loop challenges. And so I did this one, and that was really interesting. It was my first time applying a style to an element, and I did that. Let me see, I did that right here. Created the variables color green and then applied that to, I think I applied the green to, no, I applied the color blue to the even indexes, and then green to the odd to everything else. Then this was one of the problems in Jonas's course. It was a calc tip thing. I didn't have any problems with this, but sometimes, like, because I declared the variable, hold on, I think I declared a variable called totals here, and then for some reason kept it here. That's not what I was supposed to do. So on Udemy I changed it. So I think we can control D, control D, control D, ARR. Yes, there we go. Anyway, so now why don't we get into the JSON thing? Okay, I'm just gonna read it out loud. I'm gonna see how this goes. Okay, so working with JSON. JavaScript object notation is a standard text-based format for representing structured data based on JavaScript object syntax. It is commonly used for transmitting data in web applications, e.g. sending some data from the server to the client so it can be displayed on a web page, or vice versa. You'll come across it quite often, so in this article, we give you all you need to work with JSON using JavaScript, including parsing JSON so you can access data within it and creating JSON. Prerequisites and understanding of HTML and fundamentals of CSS, and familiarity with JavaScript basics is covered in previous lessons. So we're going to learn what JSON is. That JSON can contain arrays. Retrieve JSON as a JavaScript object using mechanisms available in the web APIs. Access values inside JSON data and converting between objects and text using JSON.parse and JSON.stringify. Hold on. So JSON data interchange. Okay, let's go back. JSON is a text-based data format following JavaScript object notation. It represents structured data as a string, which is useful when you want to transmit data across a network. Even though it closely resembles JavaScript object literal syntax, it can be used independently from JavaScript. Many programming environments feature the ability to read part, which is also called parsing, and generate JSON. In JavaScript, the methods for parsing and generating JSON are provided by the JSON object. Okay, so this is a JSON object and it has these 4 methods on it. The JSON namespace object contains static methods for parsing values from and converting values to JavaScript. Okay, this is a lot. So let's look at the methods. IsRaw. The IsRaw JSON static method tests whether a value is an object returned by JSON.raw method. The JSON.raw JSON static method creates a raw JSON object containing a piece of JSON text. When serialized to JSON, the raw JSON object is treated as if it is already a piece of JSON. The text is required to be valid JSON. Okay. Then we have parse. The JSON.parse static method parses a JSON string, constructing the JavaScript value or object described by the string. So you take JSON equals this, and you say const object equals JSON.parse. So I'm assuming this is some JSON. So JSON.parse JSON console.log object.count 42 object. Okay, so it'll take JSON and turn it into a JavaScript object. And then we have stringify. The JSON.stringify static method converts a JavaScript value to a JSON string, optionally replacing values if a replacer function is specified, or optionally including only the specified properties if a replacer array is specified. Okay. So we have this console.log JSON.stringify new number. So we got the number 3, new string false, new boolean false. So we have 3 false false. JSON.stringify converts a JavaScript value to a JSON string. Oh, so this is what it will look like in JSON. Okay. Okay, so this is an array, and it'll say, hey, we need to do this. And this is an object. And it'll say, oh, and X is an array. New date. Okay. All right. All right. Let's go back. Okay. No, converting a string to a native object is called deserialization. No, converting a string to a native object. So I'm assuming that's JSON dot, let's go forward. That's JSON dot parses a string, constructing the JSON object. So parse is string, JSON string to JSON object. Let's write that down. Okay. So JSON dot parse we're gonna put JSON string. This one goes from JSON. Hold up, let me see. Static method parses a JSON string constructing. So we go from JSON string to JavaScript object. And this is called deserialization. So converting a string to a native object is called deserialization, while converting a native object to a string so it can be transmitted across the network is called serialization. So this is let's just copy this so we don't have to, you know, copy. Okay, and then JSON.stringify converts a JavaScript value to a JSON string. So, and then we put you said a JavaScript value, JS value. So we're just gonna put JavaScript to JSON and that is called serialization. All right. Okay. A JSON string can be stored in its own file, which is basically just a text file with an extension of .json and a MIE. I don't know what that is. What is that? Media type, content type is a string sent along with the file indicating the type of file. For example, a sound file might be labeled audio/OGG, or an image file, image/PNG. It serves the same purpose as file extension. Okay. All right. Of applications JSON. Okay. JSON structure. As described above, JSON is a string whose format very much resembles JavaScript object literal format. The following is a valid JSON string representing an object. Note that it is also a valid JavaScript object literal, just with some more syntax restrictions. So squad name, we got members. That's an array of different members. Madam uppercut eternal flame. Okay, we got powers. Okay, whoever created this tutorial is creative. Madam uppercut, age 39, age 29, age 1 million. If you load this JSON in your JavaScript program as a string, you can parse it into a normal object and then access the data inside it using the same dot bracket notation we looked at in the JavaScript object basics article. For example, superheroes.hometown, superheroes.members1.powers. Superheroes 1 would be Madam uppercut, and then powers 2 would be superhuman reflexes. First, inside that we want to access the members property, so we use .members. Inside that we want to access the members property, so we use .members. Members contains an array populated by objects. Members contains an array populated by objects. Okay, so we want to access the second object inside the array, so we use 1 inside. So I'm assuming before you even get to superheroes, and if we look at our notes, we are going from JSON string to JavaScript object. So we would do JSON.parse, and I guess we would do JSON.parse and get the ability to do this. The key takeaway is that there's really nothing special about working with JSON. After you parse it into a JavaScript object, you work with it just like you would with an object declared using the same object literal. Note we made the JSON seen above available inside a variable in our JSON test.html. What is that? Oh, it's right here. See the source code. Okay. Is this the working with JSON? Because I could have sworn there was like this little tutorial that came with it. Hold on, let me make sure we're on the right thing. Let's see, I could have sworn, hold on a second. So we go to all pass, we go to continue, we go to JavaScript. No, I was on front inventory. What am I doing? Working with data. Then they gave some links. This one is how to use promises. Okay, so yeah, let's just continue this. Okay. The key takeaway is that there's really nothing special about work. Okay, so arrays is JSON. Above, we mentioned that JSON text basically looks like a JavaScript object inside a string. We can also convert arrays to/from JSON. The below example is perfectly valid JSON. Okay, cool. You have to access array items by starting with an array index, for example, superheroes. Hold on one second. Okay. Okay. So you do async function populate request URL const request equal new request URL const response equals await fetch request const superheroes equal await response.json. To okay, so there's a file. Okay. To obtain the JSON, we use an API called fetch. The API allows us to make network requests to retrieve resources from a server via JavaScript, meaning that we can update small sections of content without having to reload the entire page. In our function, the first 4 lines use the fetch API to fetch the JSON from the server. We declare the request URL variable to store the GitHub URL. Okay, this is the function. We use the URL to initialize a new request object. I'm gonna have to see what is a request object. You can create a new request object using request constructor, but you're more likely to encounter a request object being returned as the result of another API operation, such as a service worker. Okay. All right. Okay. We make the network request using the fetch function, and this returns a response object. We use the URL to initialize a new request object, which seems like you just need a URL to create a request object. We make the network request using the fetch function, and this returns a response object. So we do const response equals await fetch request, which creates a new request object based on the request URL. I don't know if y'all heard that, but those are my neighbors. We make the network request using the fetch function, and this returns a response object. Okay, so when we do const superheroes equal await response.json, it returns a response object. We retrieve the response as JSON using the JSON function of the response object. Okay, so const response equals await fetch request makes a request using the fetch function, and this returns a response object. And then once we have the response object, we retrieve the response as JSON using the JSON function of the response object. So superheroes equal await response.json. So we need the URL to create a request object. Then we need a response. So we fetch the request based on the URL. And then we do response.json to retrieve the response as JSON, to JSONify the response. What does this do? The JSON method of response interface takes a response stream and reads it to completion. It returns a promise which resolves with the result of parsing the body text as JSON. A promise that resolves, okay. My God. Okay. Note, the fetch API is asynchronous. You can learn about asynchronous functions in detail in our asynchronous JavaScript module, but for now, we'll just say that we need to add the keyword async before the name of the function that uses the fetch API and add the keyword await before the calls to any asynchronous functions. So async before the name of the function that uses the fetch API. Okay, and then await before the calls to any asynchronous functions. So these are asynchronous functions. After all that, the superheroes variable will contain a JavaScript object based on JSON. We are then passing the object to two function calls. The first one fills the header. So when do you use the .parse or .stringify? Function populate header object, const header equal document.query selector, yeah. My h1.text content equals object.squad name header, okay, fair. Here we first create an h1 element with create element, set its text content to equal the squad name project property of the object. Okay, so this is the function populate heroes object. So when are we gonna? Okay, here we go. And let me see what parse is again. JSON string to JavaScript object. Did I miss something? Okay, top level function. Okay, so we just haven't gotten there yet. They're thinking like from top bottom. I'm thinking like as ingredients, like we're making a cake or something. After all that, the superheroes variable will contain the JavaScript object based on the JSON. We are then passing that object to two function calls. Populate header. Okay. So we have populate header. We have populate header, and then populate heroes. Okay. Hero.name. Where did you get this from? For const hero of heroes. Oh, we're in a for loop. Oops. I was like, what? For const hero of heroes. So for each hero, we're gonna do this. We're gonna minus to text content hero.name. Okay. Create several new elements. Set the h2 to contain the current hero's name. Filter through paragraphs with their secret identity, age, and superpowers. Store the powers property in another new constant called superpowers. This contains an array that lists the current hero's superpowers. Use another for of loop to loop through the current hero superpowers. For each one, we create an li element, but the superpower inside of it. Okay. My question is, maybe I'm not understanding this, but we create a new section every time we run this object. So const section equals document.query selector section. And then we just insert, create new element article. Are we appending? What are we doing with the article? Oh, okay. I was wondering. Section.append child my article. My article dot append child. Okay, so then we append all of that to my article. Oh, okay, and then we just push that to the section. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so this is the part, because I was like, I know you receive the JSON, like you go to the URL, you get the URL like it's set up here. You get the URL. Hold on, where am I? Okay, so we get the URL, put it in a const. Request, fetch the request object, put it in a response, make the response into a JSON, and now we have superheroes. Populate header superheroes. Hold on, and now we're running. So we got populate right here. Are we going back into the populate function? Okay, so sometimes when you do this, oh, so the response is JSON, and then you do .json method, and it turns it into a JavaScript object. I thought every time you get it returns JSON, and then you have to use parse on it or something like that. Except the JSON. Okay. So the above example was simple in terms of accessing the JavaScript object because we converted the network response directly into a JavaScript object using response.json, but sometimes we aren't so lucky. Sometimes we receive a raw JSON string and we need to convert it to an object ourselves. And when we want to send a JavaScript object across the network, we need to convert it to JSON, a string, before sending it. Luckily, these two problems are so common in web development that a built-in JSON object is available in browsers, which contains the following two methods, which is parse and stringify. And parse, again, takes a JSON string, parses, reads it, and converts it to and returns a JavaScript object. And stringify takes a JavaScript object and returns a JSON string. You can see the first one in action in the heroes blah, blah, blah. We retrieve response as text rather than JSON by calling the text method of the response. Okay, so we have the request URL. We put the GitHub link in the request URL. We create a new request object. We fetch that request object with the URL. We put a wait because this is a sync function. I think that's how we put it, an asynchronous function. And then we do a wait again because we need to change that response object into text. So when they were up there and they just did a wait response.json, they should, I wonder what it returns when it's not right. We'll find, like, does it return null or undefined or something? Not a, whatever. Does it return false? Let's see. Const superheroes equals json.parse superheroes text populate header. Okay, hold on. Where are we? Okay, yeah. They're redoing the populate function. Const superheroes equals json.parse superheroes text. JSON.parse superheroes text. So now we're creating the JavaScript object. The JavaScript object is going to be superheroes. We're going to parse using the JSON parse and the static method. We're going to parse through this text that we got from the response, from the URL in the request object. And we're going to use populate header and populate heroes. As you might guess, stringify works the opposite way. Try entering the following lines into your browser's JavaScript console one by one to see it in action. Let my object equal name Chris, age 38. That was oddly close. And then, why do they put just my object? Oh yeah. So when you put it in the anyway, when you put it in the console, it'll do its thing. So why don't we just do that? Actually, so I can remember it. Inspect element console. Let's see, console dot clear. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say const person equal const person const alien equal name Chia Kulon with the age of 5,342 And now we have our JavaScript object. Hold on, wait. Unexpected number. It's not an unexpected number. It's a number. Oh. I wrote that completely wrong. Boop. Boop. Oh, I'm just messing up today. Okay, so we have our alien. All right. So now they're saying that we need to, hold on, but if I type alien, does anything come? Yeah. All right, so let my string equals, let my alien JSON string equal JSON dot stringify, and we're going to stringify alien. Okay, and then we're going to type out, we're going to put my alien string, and it comes out as a string that is JSON. Here we're creating a JavaScript object, check, and then so what we could do is we could say let my new alien equal JSON dot parse my, hold on, my alien, hold on, what? Yeah. So couldn't I just do my, yeah, my alien string? Yeah, there we go. And then we can type in my new alien, and we get an object. Okay. That makes sense. Summary. In this lesson, we've introduced you to using JSON in your programs, including how to create and parse JSON and how to access data locked inside it. In the next article, we'll give you some tests that you can check how well you understood. So hold on, they do test your skills. Okay, we're gonna have to do that next time. I have studied enough for today. And we will do some more JSON things tomorrow. I'm gonna go lay in the bed with this dog and watch anime and stuff. By the way, My Hero Academia was really good today. I need to watch Gachi Akuda now and check out my shirt from the American Legion. I need to join these guys. They're a great group of veterans around the area. Anyway, I hope y'all have a wonderful Saturday night. I hope y'all have fun. I guess, what can I talk about? There was oh my God, I don't know why I'm doing this, but there was a guy who told me that he wishes he could post on YouTube. And he said that he has a lot of anxiety. I deal with anxiety and depression as well. But I've come to realize that people are going to judge you. They're going to love you. They're going to hate you. They're going to feel so about you. Their feelings are all over the place, but I try not to make those feelings my reality. Like, I'm now understanding that every day I do this, I'm going to receive comments of people telling me, hey, maybe you should use AI to do this and do that. And in this video, I just showed you the only way I plan on using AI, which is to create random word problems and stuff. My goal, I have a goal. I want to come out with something that would help people learn JavaScript, something I haven't seen before, and something that we've all done in school. But I just don't understand why they don't do it with. I mean, we have leak code, but I just feel like it could be way different. There's it could be different. There's something I want to make and probably like sell an ebook or something on JavaScript word problems, because that has helped me a lot. And I think if there was a way to go from like the beginning of JavaScript to the end with all these problems, in addition to doing projects and stuff, I think that would help a lot. But anyway, I'm too far. I'm too in the beginning to be thinking about stuff like that. I need to master the subject first. But yeah, to the guy who said that he felt like he couldn't post, I have been saying I was gonna do YouTube stuff for years, and it wasn't until the last month where I guess things kind of came to a head, and I realized, okay, I got to make a change. And so, like, I was on the phone with my friend the other day, and I said I should have started posting on YouTube a long time ago. But then he said, don't worry about all that. Your time is now. And I was like, oh, friend, thanks. And so, you'll be ready when you're ready. Don't worry and don't fret about it. So, anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Oh, and thanks to this guy named Geoff. He told me I should be more descriptive in my titles, and I will. So this one's gonna be titled like the regular title plus JSON, learning JSON or whatever. So anyway, alrighty, bye, bye. Have a good one. See you tomorrow.